In a world with entirely too many shows about cars, this is another pointless automotive podcast.
Well, friends, welcome back to another Pointless Automotive Podcast with your ever vigilant, no, that's not true, hosts, Frank and Chadwick. And
Hi.
Frank, how are you doing this evening, man?
I'm good. I'm in my garage. I think it's like roughly 40 degrees out,
Nice.
which means it's roughly 40 degrees in.
Cool.
Don't let these insulated walls fool you.
Seals it in.
The garage door that I built like 8 years ago, completely uninsulated out of like random boards I got at Home Depot. Really not doing a lot to keep the cold out and the heat in. So I'm a little frigid, but I will live. How are you, sir?
Doing quite well, my friend. And we don't dabble in topical topics. We are
Rarely.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it tonight, though, guys. A little bit. So a point, if you're around the automotive themed water cooler, which is full of 50-50 mix of coolant and
isopropyl glycol and
shitty water. Rust filled water. You probably heard about this new very I don't know how to describe this, dude. It's not on brand. Historically on brand, but Jaguar, or Jag. Yeah, I'm gonna fuck it up. Just released this new commercial, and it's something. The first time I watched it, I go, "What the fuck did I watch?" Because the logo is completely different too. So I'm like, "Wait, is this something different?" And they didn't show a car, if memory serves me, in that.
No, I don't think there's anything car hinted. There's not even like tread marks in this weird like multicolored desert.
Well, there was a trans, right? I think there was a trans. And then I'm so sorry.
You're gonna get us eliminated.
Put on B radio.
And honestly, I didn't even know if you're right or not. I just there were interchangeable human beings of various denominations and whatnot. There was somebody who looked
back in place with the Miller.
There was somebody who looked suspiciously like Tilda Swinton.
That's weird.
And there was a guy spinning in circles, which actually vaguely reminded me of the original New Beetle ad with like the UFO one.
Oh yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, that reminded me of that.
So I don't know what to say. I mean, it's like that, what is it, avant-garde art form, where it doesn't really apply to what they're trying to get across.
New York Fashion Week.
Yeah, you're supposed to like understand it, and then the bullshitters come out of the back and they're like, well, yes, of course this harkens back to Jaagg's industrialized approach to manufacture, and you're like, no, none of that was there.
I think what they've done excellently with that very strange ad is you and I are talking about this. Like that is what nobody has done about Jaguar in almost any capacity other than like, how are they still in business, or they're taking a year off from selling and producing vehicles or whatever.
I don't know, my man.
So I think it's a good, hey, look at me. I've got something very important to say. And now we're like, everyone's head is turned and like, the fuck's this guy going on about?
I feel like you're going to hit
now
me
we're
with
waiting for
some any press is good press comment. But it's like,
no, because certainly, it's not like, our new mascot, Jeffrey Epstein. It's like a cartoonified, we're moving our headquarters to Epstein Island. And like, like that would be bad press. That would be press. I don't think that would be good press.
It's something. This is
hey, look how weird we are. We are trying to distance ourselves from our past. And I don't know if that's a good move or not, because they have a lot of good past.
Yeah, they do.
But that they've been trying to recycle that past forever, and it's never worked. I do think the new logo is profoundly stupid.
It's horrible. Also, Epstein didn't hang himself, but the imagery, so that like a lot of imagery in the advertisement, right? Let's be honest. It's really very powerful, bright popping colors, lots of movement. The imagery is good, but
is it?
I'm going to break it down, Frank. Jaguar imagery
Jaguar.
for me
Mhm.
is Bond villains, a proper cuppa of tea sitting there somewhere in the ad. There's going to be a chunk of British steel and hand shapen wood drifting around a rainy corner. That is Jaguar imagery to me. That's how I picture a Jag ad. I think most Jag ads were like similar to that or featured some of that imagery. This one is completely doesn't touch
There
on
is
any
a
of that.
suspicious, definitely a suspicious lack of Clarkson's incredible boiler. Like I feel like if you just had like British geezer enormous potbelly,
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be more Jag. But
Mm.
like I think we're in this, they set us up for this like really kind of like awkward pause, right? Like here's the thing. And what's ironic is it's like never duplicate it, never cop. And it's like it's very just it's not it's weird. I wouldn't call it terribly original, the ad, right? And so they're already kind of copying other stuff and other sensibilities. And then
Was
have
it?
you seen
But wasn't the X Type essentially a Ford Taurus at one point?
Mondeo? But yes,
Cool.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Back to it.
Sure.
What were you saying? Never
Right,
copied.
and the S type's the Lincoln LS, and that's okay.
Never duplicated.
But what's interesting, and then they did this teaser of an image of like the rear, like a pastel colored rear image, which looks suspiciously like the rear of the Chrysler Crossfire behind me. Which is just an
You got to
unbuildable.
sell that car, Frank.
I know it's rotting into my brain.
You're just,
but no, have you seen it though? Have you seen the teaser thing they put out?
He's like trying to convert me to be a Christianity or something. He's like, have you heard of my good friend? It's the Chrysler Crossfire.
Jesus Chrysler. Okay.
Yeah. Chrysler died on this cross for you.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Christ. Cross. We're
in
there.
Chrysler we trust.
We're through the looking glass here, people.
Good.
But no, have you actually seen this thing I'm talking about though? The little teaser thing?
Yeah.
It looks like the ass end of like
kind of does. Yeah.
It's crossfirean. But it's so I don't what do you think they will unveil? Like what do you think is gonna like do you anticipate it to be EV? Do you anticipate it to be hybrid? Do you anticipate it to be gas? Is it going to be a 4-door crossover that's like because what I think they've said that like they're aiming at like Bentley and Rolls-Royce, which I think is a fool's errand. But like, if that's like, do you think they're going to stick to that? Do you think they're saying that and it's going to be like $120,000 car? Do you think it's going to be $48,000 median price? Like what?
No.
What do you think they're doing?
So do you think of this as just purely a new model being, exposed to the public? Or do you think this is more of like a brand reestablishment? Because to me, it felt like, it definitely is both, right? Like I feel like just unveiling a new model and there wasn't enough substance there to really do that. But with the logo, like it was just horrible.
The freshman year of design school, like font creation. Some of them are lowercase, but some of them are uppercase.
Yeah, like ironically smoking an unlit cigarette and just like
no, it's got to be a filterless clove,
but not lit, at all.
Right? Yeah,
horrible. Yeah. Dude, I don't know. I don't know what to think about it. I don't want to read into it too much. I think it's kind of poop. Like it didn't work for me. I think an old school, maybe it's a setup. Maybe the next one is an old school proper Jag commercial, and we're all like, "Fuck yeah!" We're getting back into it. Like when Bud Light showed like
classic Coca-Cola classic. Yeah, like I mean, maybe.
Or Bud Light came back and their next ad was like nothing but like heterosexual men doing heterosexual men things,
like headbutting walls and like just
domestic violence. I don't know what else is. It's commonly acceptable.
Old standby. Well, I mean. I don't know.
Drinking Budweiser, beer, probably.
Yeah, Budweiser and oh man, are we gonna get sued by InBev or whoever owns Budweiser now?
God, I hope so.
I know. No news is good news.
Yeah, there we go.
Any pub is good pub.
Any press is good press.
Yeah, and so I don't know, man. Like, I'm curious to see because I kind of don't have any clue. Like, are they going to come out with like a luxury coupe, like big flashy thing and like try and go like the Halo approach. You'd be like, look, here's our Halo thing. We're gonna make 100, and they're gonna be $400,000 each, and this is what it's gonna be. And then they've established it. That gets a bunch of pub, and then they're gonna sneak under it. Like, by the way, here's our $138,000, EV crossover.
Yeah.
That's like, you can get in some crazy colors.
Wow.
And it's got like a fancy interior, and look at the tech, and that we're gonna borrow from Benz or something.
Sure.
We're not gonna develop our own. We don't have the money. I don't know. I don't know what direction it's gonna go in, but it is weird to think like it seems like they're finally going to like shed their past, right? Like, okay, we've been trying to do the reboot of old Jag time and time and time again, where it's like, well, yeah, the XJ still looks like the XJ, and then we're finally going to make it like its own looking thing.
That was going to be my point, right? Like they've never tried to get away from their past. Like the XJ looked like a 70s car throughout its whole lifespan. It got a little modern at the end, maybe in the early 2000s, but those I love the late 80s ones, by the way. They're huge slabs of actual material, and that's how I describe Jags of that period. You have real metals, you have heavy woods,
rich cornly
leather, right? Nothing. It's hard to find plastic in one of those that's not disguised as wood. But there's something about that. And the next section I want to talk about, like, is to move past the ad, go back in time, like we so often do, Frank, because we don't live with topical car stuff too much, right? Like really. We're not super feeling it. We're not the guys that go out like, I need the latest wireless Apple CarPlay in my car. We like old cars. We appreciate what they are and what they stand for.
Yes, sir.
Some Jags, if you will, that you would like to own.
Boy, I'm going to start. So I've only owned one Jag ever.
Good start.
It's a 73 XJ, so a Series 1 XJ, which is a properly pretty car. And I feel like I should use the word proper because that feels extra British. A proper beautiful car, saloon. But it had a Chevy small block in it. So it was like,
nope.
It felt good. It looked good. It drove good because it had a Chevy small block in it.
Sure. Yeah.
And it moved under its own power. It proceeded. But I don't know that I got the Jaguar experience in that car. I've driven S-types. I've driven X-types, which neither of those are like peak Jaguar. XJs, though, are.
They are.
I've never... Have you spent time in an XJ?
So an XJ6 from the 90s, which was like a more newer iteration. I like the late 80s ones. I love the XJ6 because that inline six has so much personality and is dead nuts reliable, right? So there's that. I've driven an S-Type R, which is a lot of fun, but does not feel like classic Jag. No matter how much fake wood slabs they throw inside of it. And the X-Type, is horrible. I did not like the X-Type driving experience.
I've driven a couple of X-Types. Yeah. I've driven an X-Type wagon, which was cool. X-Type sport wagon. But then I shut it off and it wouldn't restart. So like it
more
was
Jag than we thought.
Yeah. S-Types are actually, I've never driven an S-Type R. I've driven an XJR and an XKR. But I've never driven an S-Type R. But they all have that same motor and transmission and powertrain. But just a regular S-Type, I've driven a few of them. And I've hustled one down a road. The brakes almost caught on fire. But other than the brakes, it kind of handled better than it had any business doing.
It has sporting intentions,
Yeah. So it was reasonable. But XJR, I drove a 90. I think it was a 99.
Okay.
It was an 01. It was an 01 XJR. So the supercharged V8, 390 horsepower, burnout machine.
Hell yeah.
But sounded really good. Still had that old school. That was the last of the, God, what do they call that? Was that the X150 platform, I think? It was that older XJ platform. And then I think in 03, it went to the X350 platform, which is the all aluminum body one. And those are actually genuinely excellent cars.
Great car. Yeah.
But I love that supercharged V8 though.
Such a good motor. But dude, I like the XJ6. I will definitely own an XJ6.
Yeah.
If you're gonna pick like a nice, like cool, like really classically styled cruiser, I think an XJ6 is the way to go. I just love the way they look. I think they've aged so damn well. They come in a
Hmm.
myriad of fantastic colors. Interiors are like super comfy and they feel well made. I know the electronics. I know all the kind of sensor stuff that can go bad with them, especially in the earlier cars. But
Hmm.
the motor will never fail you. That inline six, I think it's a motorsport derived 4.2, and it's just easy to work on. Dead nuts reliable. And there's something about those cars, and you can get them for like six,
They're
seven.
free. Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
like I'm talking like a very
A
clean.
really good one, like
Yeah.
a really, really, really good one. And that's kind of how you want to buy one, right? It's either you want
Mhm.
to inherit it for no money, and even then you kind of don't want to, or you just get like an incredibly nice one. Somebody who's owned it for 25 years put an inappropriate amount of money into it.
Yep.
Like the grandma that always took it in for service like clockwork. Like that's the one you want. Um, people saw, oh, there's nothing more expensive than a cheap Audi or something like that, right? Insert brand here. It's probably more true than anything ever that's when it comes to a Jag.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but the Ford era, I like those Ford era Jags.
Yeah.
And those earlier ones are cool. I've driven an XJS with a 6-cylinder. I've never driven one with a 12,
Mm.
but I've driven. It was a convertible with that same 6-cylinder in it,
Oh yeah. Cool.
which was cool. Um, is if that's the one you would probably own if you're going to own a Jag in the future? You think an XJ6?
Yeah, XJ6 for sure. Probably late 80s, early 90s. They changed them up in like the later 90s or mid 90s, and it kind of
Mm-hmm.
looks more modern. But I want the big chrome bumper. I want the front grille. They just look good. The interiors are like, it
Mm-hmm.
really feels like you're in a 70s car, even when
Yeah.
you get the 90s example. And I do love that they built them like that. There's something to be said about that. But if I wanted to go bonkers, an XKRS would be kind
Mm-hmm.
of fucking amazing too. In that weird sky blue they
I believe
came
it's
in.
is it called Tour de Force blue, or maybe it's just like French blue or Le Mans blue?
Yeah,
It's like
it's
something
something
French.
absolutely
I think it's Le
wild.
Mans.
What a wild looking Jag.
Yeah.
It's like hints of it's really Aston Martin-y. But those it's just God with all the hood louvers and everything. It just looks purpose built. It looks like a fucking mean son of a bitch. And
Those are very cool.
I would totally rock one of those. And I think the prices have gone up because the XKRS was actually extremely rare. They didn't make
Hmm.
many of them. But I remember seeing one for an affordable price in that blue, and I was just like, God,
Yeah.
it's stupid. It's stupid what else I could buy. I know this thing isn't as good as it looks, but goddamn the way it looks, right? It's like very arresting. That's on the list. And S-Type Rs are dirt cheap too.
Yeah.
They're getting harder to find because they did go to like 3 to 4K. And whenever something drops in that range,
Hmm.
it gets into some pretty bad hands. Pretty bad hands don't do maintenance, guys. That's the
Correct.
end game for a car like that, a supercharged V8 that does need a fair amount of maintenance. That's usually
Yeah.
the end of the road, right?
Yeah. Some of the earlier ones on those had timing chain guide issues that you got to look out for.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but if I'm gonna get a Jag that isn't something like super like a Mark II saloon or something from the 50s,
Yeah, yeah.
which I don't have any pretenses of any ever owning one, but I do think those are really, really cool. It would be the original XK8. So
Yeah.
like 90, I think that's 97 to '04. So the generation before the one that you were talking about, that XK with the because that supercharged one that you're talking about, I think the standard XKR is like 505 horsepower, and then I think it was like five
Just under 6, pretty much. I think it
is
was,
something, yeah,
yeah, it's up there.
in that spec. But that same motor in like the S Type R and stuff, but in that coupe, I just think that coupe such a pretty thing.
It's super pretty. And would you get a convertible? You'd get the coupe, huh?
I'd have to get coupe if I can get coupe in that. I like in my mind that like a good clean coupe in that like metallic red
Yeah.
tan thing. I really wish there was a 6-speed available. There isn't. They're all the U gate, the
Yep.
J gate, whatever you call it for the shifter. J date. I think it's yeah. You can find me on J date. I'm not Jewish, but I'm there playing the field. But yeah, the J gate shifter and the they're good. I've driven a standard coupe, so standard V8 coupe, and then I've driven an XKR convertible.
Mm.
And they're good, but those coupes look so good. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, the verts aren't bad. I kind of like them. They're like a bathtub look, which is kind of
Mhm.
neat, but there isn't a straight line on that entire car, which is kind of it's pretty though. It's a very pretty British racing green, obviously, is
Yeah.
my choice with like a light tan leather interior. I just love
Mhm.
that combo if I'm going convertible. But agreed, I like those a lot. Those can be had for a half of a song just for the intro. Remember intro mode back in the day on your CD player when
Mhm.
who hit intro mode and it plays 15 seconds of a song and you're like, fuck yeah, I love this. Oh, intro mode.
It's like those people that like the scan function on a radio, similar vibe.
Hated that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's right. Those are very cheap. I think you can get a good one for like seven all day,
Yeah.
$7,000-8,000. And
The problem is finding a good one.
that's the problem. Again, when these cars like dropped below a certain threshold, they just unfavorable people inherited them. And they just, it doesn't take much to run one of these things into the ground. That's for sure. Modern Jag, my friend, I kind of like the XE. I
Ooh,
kind of like those XEs.
Project 8.
Yeah, right. That's the one to have. But no, you could get, I don't know, did we get the full-blown XER here or we got the XES? I don't remember if we got the full R.
Well, we did. I know we got the XE Project 8. We actually did get those, which
Yeah, but those are
shit.
fucking ball nuts
Yeah, they're like,
stuff. Yeah.
well, they're just, they shouldn't exist, but they do. It's
Race
just like
car.
a sedan with no back seat.
Yeah.
Those are cool. But no, I think we did. I don't know. Those are cars that are like XEs and XFs, like that gen, like the most recent ones, other than the Sport Brake. The XF Sport Brake is sick.
It's sick. Good luck finding one of those, by the way.
Yeah, they didn't really sell them.
The XF can be had so cheaply, and that one they didn't make a big deal about that. It was the bigger guy. The XE though, when it came out, a lot of journalists were comparing it to the 3 Series, rightfully so, because it was squared up to be a 3 Series competitor. I think it looks good. All automatic, of course, which kind of sucked. And it had the little shifter that would pop up and you would turn, kind of a weird thing at the time when it came out. But I thought, and I think the review said this, they handled favorably to the 3 Series at the time. So that says a lot. And we're talking about like probably a 328, maybe not as powerful as a 335 unless you got the more powerful one. I think it had a 2-liter turbo in the base model. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But I think they look good. I think they look good, Frank.
What about an F-Type? I think F-Types are dope.
F-Types are dope. The XE you could have with a supercharged V6 also. But I think the 2-liter turbo is the base. Yeah, F-Types, you couldn't get the V8 with a manual. Is that the crux of that car?
The only way you can get those cars with a manual is with the
supercharged V6.
The supercharged V6, and I think for like a 2-year period. Like it was a really short period. And of course that V6 is the one that's famously the V8 with two fill in holes. Like you look at like,
oh, so fucking weird.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I get why they did it, because like the motor's in the same spot. You don't have to it's a European car, so you had to do pedestrian like impact studies and stuff if the motor's now in a different spot. And it's like, so it's like, look, it's the same shape and everything, dimensions. It's just missing 2 holes.
Unlike GM slicing off the end of a 5.7 for a 4.3, but hey, whatever you gotta do,
of course,
English folk.
Yeah, it's but I think those things sound so mean. That like the F-Type Rs, they're like they're like oppressively loud, which is kind of rad. Like I'm not.
It is.
Yeah, but I can see an F, especially like because when did the F-Type come out? Was that like 2014?
It's got to be around that time. Was it even before that?
Jaguar F-Type. We're gonna do homework here on the fly.
Maybe like a 2012. I feel like a 2012.
It came out. Please. Oh, we're splitting a different model year. Model year was 2014.
Okay, so it came out in
14 to 24.
Okay, no. Interesting. So it came out in 13. Interesting.
Get the 4-banger just to like just to mess with people. Like it's like a 300 horsepower 4-banger.
good looking car. I know it wasn't like an actual sports car in the handling department. I think that was like some of the feedback they got from the review section of it. But good looking car. Those have depreciated pretty good though.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can scoop one of those
Jaguar
up
tradition.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
You can scoop one of those up. It's a very pretty modern Jag. I think the XFs are probably the cheapest, to tell you the truth. If you want a modern Jag, you can get a supercharged V8 one for nothing because
Yeah. They're
they're
free.
kind of big. They're kind of whatever. But goddamn, yeah, it's a shame. It's a bloody shame.
I think part of how Jaguar ended up where they are now is like their SUV offerings are like, because you have the F pace and the E pace, and the I pace, and the U pace, and no U pace, and I don't know, but like they're kind of, they do nothing for me as far as aesthetics. I think they're utterly forgettable as far as the way they look.
Yeah.
You can do like what the F Pace SVR, which is like the spiciest one, which sounds crazy because it's got that same crazy F type R and SVR motor, and they're fast, and by all accounts they're kind of unhinged.
Sure.
But like the standard cars are so just utterly, they're like the minivan appearance.
It looks like a CX-5. It could be a CX-5. You change the badges around, you're like, oh shit, that's an F-Pace. It's wild. And I agree with you on that. But they don't even make a normal car anymore, do they? Like the XE was discontinued a few years back, right?
I think that might have been the one that survived the longest. Was like, I think up until like 23 or 24, you can still get an XE. Like I think that was the one that made it the farthest.
You got to find out if they made a spicy XE, because I think they did, or they teased it, or I know they.
I mean, in the Project 8 we did. I don't know if, I think it only came in the Project 8 though. So the XE was made until model year
2021.
Well, okay, well they're still making it in China, so that doesn't count. That doesn't count. Let's see. Production ceased mid 2024.
Okay.
Successor to the X Type, designed by Ian Callum. Launch, production, engines.
2-liter turbo and a 3-liter supercharged.
You get 161 horsepower version. I don't think we ever got that. Oh, that's the diesel.
We would have never got that. Yeah.
Petrol engine. Yeah. 197 horses. It's a Ford EcoBoost from 15 to 17. And then they got their own motor.
Shit.
Ingenium motor from then on.
Oh, beautiful.
Ingenium. Yeah, it looks like only the Project 8 got the V8.
That's bonkers.
Otherwise, you can get the hottest version was the supercharged
3-liter.
At 375 horsepower,
that's pretty spicy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's in the S. So the only V8 was the Project 8, which is absolute batshit.
So get an XES, is what you're saying.
Oh, careful there. The X, yeah. Your spelling is almost, yeah. Just go with it.
Let's go.
XES, yeah.
Wasn't what that new advertisement was trying to sell to me anyway?
I think so. Yeah.
I had one hell of a boner when I was done watching it.
Yeah. 9 bonery. But it was it was a commercial. But I don't know. Like I think that's where if I was gonna like be the person that made that unhinged commercial and then came out and said like, okay, like, yeah, here's what the actual new Jaguar is going to be. I think Jaguar's lot in life is to make sedans.
I like it. Yeah.
Like that's it. Maybe a coupe, right? Maybe make a big coupe, make a sedan,
like a GT coupe for sure. I could understand that. Yeah.
And like be the more approachable Bentley or Rolls Royce, right? Like you don't have to like. It's like what a basic ass Bentley's 300.
It's stupid. It's unapproachable.
And a Rolls is that plus.
Yeah.
So, like be 200, which is insane. Like that's money you and I will never ever come close to spending on a car.
No way.
Certainly not a new sedan. But I don't know. I think they just come back to the SUV drawing board. I don't know. But then again, the market always seems to dictate that. Like even if you have a manufacturer like Rolls-Royce, they go out and they or Bentley and they push out a Bentayga and they'll sell more than anything else. It's like I don't know.
I'm with you, man. It's Jaagg, man. I think we just stick with the old stuff. I would consider an XC, to tell you the truth, if I could find one. They are pretty cheap, pretty compelling if the handling's as good as they say. But XJ6 all the way for me, and that's direction of the company. I don't know, man. It's I feel like it's like Land Rover. Like I'm not in love with the new Defender. I don't know why everybody like jumped on that. I've seen quite a few, and I don't like it.
They're okay. You know what I have seen and that I do like, and that really should be the new Defender? The Ineos Grenadier. Have you seen any of those out in the wild?
Those are sweet. I've seen a couple of them. Yeah. The price point's insane for what it is, but it's cool. It's cool enough, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's at least different.
It's different. Yeah.
Proper different. Proper. What do you think?
Right.
What do you think Jaagg should do?
I don't know, man. It's tough, you know. Float out a new XJ6. Let's just do this.
Slip quietly below the waves, disappear.
Die a dignified death. God damn it, you deserve it. It's like you said. It's the proper thing to do.
Yeah, that's what the actual announcement is. It's just like seppuku, just like they just absolutely like disembowel themselves.
And we're out. But no, I still like the brand. I think I do want to own an XJ6. I think that's the kind of thing I want. I don't want any sporty driving. I want to take it out, just enjoy it. I think that's a good cruising vehicle. I think it looks good. I think you can still have a lot of fun with it at the price point. Mechanically pretty sound. So I'll get one. I'll get one eventually, man. But
one day.
Jaagg, what the fuck are you trying to tell us? And what are we doing here? Good
question.
That's it.
Hot
Translator.
Damn.
Okay. Should we speaking of
translation? It's a translation sensation.
Transitioning. I think it's time for a printed quiz game.
I think we should do this game. I'm going to figure out something, and while I limp through emergency pulling a rabbit out of a hat, as far as finding an ad to read, and then talking about LaCroix drama, which remember, kids, the best sparkling water, next to Miller Lite, of course, is you tell the people at home what we're going to do.
Yeah, so this is our automotive print ad quiz game show. The name just works because it's so appropriate.
Rolls off the tongue.
Basically, we dig up a magazine from the period of the 80s, 90s to mid 2000s. We read a car advertisement. These things used to be printed, guys. It's absolutely fucking wild. But we're going to read it. We're going to omit. This time, Frank's going to be quizzing me. So he'll omit anything that gives it away. And I'm going to, after he's done reading that beautiful piece of art, guess what vehicle he's talking about or fail miserably. I get 3 guesses.
Time out. I just tabbed over and I personally got an alert saying that I'm out of room. My computer can't record anything else further because I'm insufficient disk space. So should we just here, let me do this. Let me find some bullshit to delete real quick.
Should I pause? I can pause. Assuming. Okay. So yes, our automotive print ad quiz. So I will have 3 guesses after he's finished reading this beautiful ad. I'm sure it's beautiful. Yeah. If I fail, I get to ask for a lifeline. Frank can bail me out. 10 minutes are on the clock. I have to figure out what the hell he's talking about. Play along at home, guys. Help me out. Leave comments saying I'm an idiot and I'm missing an obvious thing because that's usually what gets me. But Frank, roll that beautiful bean footage.
Okie dokie. So in this particular advertisement, it is a 2-pager. The top 57% is a shot of almost dead on the driver's side broadside of the car. It then says the name hovering above it. It is black in color. It then has a quote. Once I looked at other luxury cars, I knew blank offered more for the money. Anyone nostalgic for the vanishing art of craftsmanship will appreciate the elegance of the blank coupe. It is, after all, the product of Blank's engineering and the skill of one of Europe's most distinguished coach builders, Bertone of Turin, Italy. Glove soft Italian leather is hand stitched over each seat, trims the door panels, and covers the recessed sun visors. Elm veneer accents the door panels. Power windows, a central door locking system, map lights, air conditioning, a power antenna, heated driver and front passenger seats are all standard. Up front, a blank B28F V6 engine awaits your pleasure. Cruise control may be instructed to maintain a constant highway speed. In every respect, the blank coupe is extraordinary. What a shame. Time only permits the construction of a limited number of our luxury class touring cars. And yet, for the sake of automotive history, better a few than none at all. Then it's got on the right hand side. First, and then in the middle, below the car, it shows a very well lit picture of the interior. Boy, there's a lot of handcrafted Italian leather in there. And then off to the right, it has your favorite for these ads, a collection of bullet points just like spitting off a bunch of features of this car.
Let's go.
Performance, handling, durability, safety, and luxury are part of the standard equipment.
Okay.
We have the aforementioned B28F V6 engine with continuous fuel injection, transistorized ignition, and the lambda sonde emission control system. 4-speed manual transmission with overdrive or 3-speed automatic transmission. Power-assisted 4-wheel disc brakes with ventilated front discs. Power-assisted rack and pinion steering. Custom leather and genuine Elmwood paneled interior by Bertone. Front spoiler. Cruise control. Air conditioning. Heated driver and passenger front seats. Alloy wheels. Dual swivel map lights. Power windows. Plush carpeting. Dual electronically controlled side mirrors. Power antenna. Map pockets on the back of the front seats. Rear cigarette lighter. Delayed dome light shutoff. Engine compartment light. Steel belted radials. Halogen high beam headlamps. Tinted glass with dark tint band along the top of the windshield. Trip odometer. Light integrity sensor. Quartz crystal clock. Warning buzz for key headlights and safety belts. Windshield wipers with intermittent cycle. Electric rear window defroster. 12 outlet heating and ventilation system. Day, night, rear view mirror. Adjustable front bucket seats with adjustable lumbar support. 4 3-point adjustable safety belts. Centrally controlled power door locking system. Speakers mounted in front doors. Rear seat armrest. Lighted glove box with remote control trunk release. Vanity mirror. And luggage compartment light. Chadwick, what do we have here?
Clearly a very well-known motor. As soon as you send the engine code, I know. No, I don't. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Oh, you don't know? Okay.
Do not know.
There's a shot. Like there's a shot.
There's always a shot. And yeah, this isn't my shot. So it's a coupe with a rear cigarette lighter. That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool for the little kids.
Don't forget the map pockets.
So we're dealing with a 4-speed manual. Kind of
with overdrive. So I think it has an additional overdrive to get you that 5th gear.
Gotcha. So I think we're still talking 4-speed manual. We're talking early 80s for this car. So boy, V6 coupe. Now it sounded to me, and I could be wrong, and thanks for not giving me too many tech specs, by the way. Mm-hmm. Those fucking your bullet points of specs was horrible.
Day night mirror, come on.
What? Yeah,
day night rear view mirror, come on.
Map pockets on the back of the seats. Good place for it.
Delayed dome light.
Yeah, that's a good one. So it said coupe a lot, but I don't think this car was always a coupe. It kind of read like that. So potentially this was a sedan turned coupe. Who knows? I don't think it mentioned rear wheel drive, front wheel drive, all wheel drive, any kind of like drive gear, anything, even if the car drives. So I don't know.
Optional 3-speed auto.
Definitely early 80s. Dude, I don't know. V6. There's not a lot to go on. Coupe with a V6 comes in black.
Bertone is a pretty significant part.
Yeah. But is this car Italian? Probably not.
The leather sure is.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. Is this what was the V6 again? Would you mind saying
The B28F V6 continuous fuel injection pressurized ignition and the Lambda Sonde emission control system.
B B2 what say that again?
B28F.
8F. B2 8F.
B28F.
I mean it could be that could be the displacement, but usually is. I don't know, man. This is toughy. This reads a lot like I think this is going to be the fuel injection. I couldn't put like continuous CFI. That didn't ring a bell either. Fuck, I don't know. It's a coupe. It sounds American to me, but I don't think we'd call out the American V6, like, you know?
Sure.
But it doesn't sound like European at all. It really doesn't. I mean, cigarette lighter in the back is kind of European as fuck. Right, little 15-year-old French kid. This is a Citroen. Is this a Citroen? God damn, it's a Citroen.
It's a U.S. market car. I'll give you that. This was sold in North America.
Don't forget.
Yeah, they're here for an hour.
Don't forget about the Fuegos, my friend.
That's a Renault.
What? That's French?
It is French. Frenchy French.
Renault.
I'll give you a hint. It is not a French manufacturer.
I don't think this thing's European, dude. This is like a early 80s.
It's not a fuck.
People fucked in this thing for sure. I don't even know what to say. 2.8. Always makes me want to think of GM, but I don't think did they name their GM? Did they name that 2.8? Let's go again with the 2.8s. Fuck. How about a final answer? Dodge Diplomat.
Oh, I don't think they made a Dodge Diplomat coupe.
I had to do it. I had to get it out there.
It is distinctly not
perfect.
A Dodge Diplomat coupe. It is not a domestic manufacturer.
Get out of here. So not domestic. Could it be Japanese? It could be. Didn't sound like it. There was nothing about sportiness. They didn't talk about suspension. This is fucking tough, dude. Okay, besides not being domestic.
It's European.
Was I right, though, that there was a sedan version of the vehicle, too? Or is this purely by itself a coupe?
There is a sedan.
Different name.
There's a sedan version of the vehicle. I've basically given you, in some form or fashion, the entire model name within this ad. Coupe is one half of it.
Yeah.
It does also have a model designation name that is not mentioned anywhere in this ad. I didn't even redact it out, but it does also have a model designation name that is directly associated with its sedan and wagon counterparts.
Man. I think I'm stuck on this one, man. God. V6, right?
Correct.
No BMW.
Yep. No transistorized ignition and Lambda Sonde emissions control system.
I don't know if you're trying to do a French accent there, but it's coming across a little French. I mean, I think German, man. Man, I'm just blanking on this, dude. 2.8 V6, so BMW's out. Porsche never had a V6.
Porsche never had of these. Well, it's not a Cayenne.
Right, like a proper Porsche. Sorry, my bad. Might be. Could it be a Volkswagen?
I don't know. Could it be?
Could it be? I know I'm not going to get hooked up on Passats again. I know you could get a Passat with a 2.8 at one point, right? That was the V6 before the VR6.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about that car. God damn it, dude. Is this, well, no. This isn't actually Italian. Oh my God, is this a fucking Italian car, Frank? Did we not do this car already? If it's I was gonna say, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's just see if we're right. I think it's the Alfa Romeo. I know we just did that, and it could be a 164 with a really cool 2.8 with a really pretty intake plenum. Final answer.
Did they make a 164 coupe?
I believe, didn't they? Did they not?
I don't know. We had that as Alfa Milano in a sedan, and not that. I mean, there was the GTV6. It's not a GTV6.
Okay.
If that is, I'll give that. I'll re-navigate that guess into the GTV6. It is not a GTV6
because that was that a 3-liter plus 3.2 or something like that? I can't remember off the top of my head that motor.
I want to say
3.1 or 3.2 or something like that.
There was a 2.5 and then a 3.0.
Okay.
This is from a Swedish manufacturer.
No talk about the drive. 2.8. Yeah, those 2.8 turbo Saabs came later in life with thanks to GM. We're not talking about that. 2.8.
2.8.
No mention of turbocharging, which it wouldn't have been turboed at that displacement. Volvo with a 2.8. You know what? They did make. Which one is it, though? I'm going to mess up the number. I'm going to mess up the number on this one. It is the Volvo. I want to say 240. I know they made a Bertone coupe.
If you know the naming convention,
yeah,
the Volvo naming convention, you can suss this out.
Yeah, it would be. Would it be a?
Assuming it's a Volvo, of course.
It is. It's totally. It's like now Bertone coupe is clicking. It wouldn't be a 280, would it? Let's see. I'm gonna fuck up the name, but I know exactly what it is. It's a Volvo we'll say 280 Bertone coupe. Final answer.
This is it's like an 80 or 81. I can't determine it from the ad. Or it's a 79.
I literally just saved one to my. I saved one to my marketplace like 2 days ago. Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah,
it is. Yeah, that early. The ad just calls it the Bertone coupe.
Yeah,
that's how they marketed it. But in Volvo parlance, it is the 262C because it's the 2 series. It's the 2 series. I guess we're calling it 6-cylinder. So the 6, 2-door. So the 2, and then the C, the Bertone coupe, with that chopped roof, is the 262. You were thinking of the later car, which was also styled by Bertone, which was the 780.
That's what it is. Yeah. And let me find the
780s are dope. I've wanted a 780 for a long time. They had that really low belt line.
This one was fucked. It needed like a motor, I think. But let me find that. So I was off. I fucked up.
You kind of. I mean, you.
I knew what we were talking about.
Right. Yes. I mean, you said Bertone coupe, which is what he calls it in the ad.
Yeah, this is my bad. So this is the one I just saved like 2 days
that's a
ago.
780. That's a 780.
Yeah,
those are sick.
He's asking $1,200.
Is it a 6-cylinder?
It is. it needs a right fender replaced. Project car. It's been sitting for a while. He says needs a motor. I'm not
Those
sure.
motors are kind of those PRV V6s are kind of trash. Like they suck. That's what was in the DeLorean. Like it's kind of a
Yeah,
garbage motor.
pretty
But
car
the
though.
yeah, and these earlier ones, which like the distinctly like chopped roof. Let me see if I can find this particular ad. Here it is.
Oof. That ad was not very. If you didn't know what they were like, there was like it was hard to guess at. Thanks for all the
Oh
tech specs,
boy.
bro.
Oh, for sure. I'm here. I'm here to help. Here, there we go. There's the exact ad for you to look at.
Let's
Um,
see. Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah, the
Pretty.
chop roof. Weird cars. I still kind of want one, but the 780 is the better car. And if you can get a 780 with the B23 turbo motor, that's like the end run. I want to say like 90, 89, 90.
Yeah.
It's the V6, and you got like the turbo red block, four banger that will go a billion miles. But
Well, dude,
cool
you
machines.
stuffed me on the rough reading Volvo ad from the early 80s.
Yes,
Touche.
it was
Touche.
on the bubble as far as like making the cutoff. But
Hmm.
anywho, I've gotten no further on the crossfire behind me because I've been busy as all hell. Like globe trotting and dad dutying and all the things. But one day
Mm.
it'll be buttoned up, which is nothing. It's like there's probably an hour and a half worth of work.
Nice. Cool.
But yeah, and you know what I am doing though is I'm documenting it. So I'm taking a page out of your book, which I don't know how to do. I don't wrench and film simultaneously. So I'm probably doing nothing but making grotesque errors, not just in the filming, but like I'm probably dropping chunks of metal into the motor and buttoning it back up or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll see. I'll let you critique me aggressively.
At a minimum, it adds a multiplier of 2 to how long the job takes. At least.
Yeah.
At least
I'm
that
like
multiplier.
maybe for you because you put actual effort into it. I think I'm just gonna like have a GoPro on my forehead and be like and just edit it all together and
Yeah.
that would be like
too.
5 minutes worth of stumbling. But
Very nice.
yeah, that's kind of it. I haven't had an opportunity to put much more effort into the 924 and dig around to figure out if the motor is actually cooked or if it's wiring.
Oh yeah. Fuck that, dude. Those are tough jobs.
Yep. How about you? Have you gotten anywhere?
So before I answer that scintillating question, both Frank and myself, if you're watching, have Chrysler products in the background.
Oh,
He has this Crossfire. I have an '88 Dodge Daytona Shelby Z.
mm-hmm.
Who wore it better?
White versus you got the white hat. I've got the black hat.
Yeah, it's very different looking cars.
Yours is far more Chrysler product than mine.
100%. Yeah, yours is totally a Mercedes Benz, if you will, but
yours has pop-ups and a back seat.
Yeah, and a turbo.
Did yours have T-tops?
Yes.
Okay, you had the T-tops. What's a slick top?
Ooh,
bro.
Weight reduction, bro.
Performance, dog. Lower center of gravity.
We both got Manuels.
That's right. Noriegas. Yeah. No, I don't know.
We both win.
React. We need your comments.
Yeah. Very cool cars. So what have I done? Absolutely nothing with real life cars, but digital cars, my friend. So I like to play racing games every once in a while. When I used to race, I used to have a racing like rig, a sim rig, and actually put in some time in the off season. And I still have an old kind of steering wheel and an old stand that I every once in a while bust out Gran Turismo and play on. But I've been waiting to get PlayStation VR, which is like the newest. They came out with a new version of it, which like really jumped ahead to like the market of VR. Which have you ever fucked with VR at all? Because
a little bit. My mom has an Oculus that she I'm assuming uses only for
don't say it.
Just proper video game entertainment and nothing untoward at all.
Thank God. You leave Linda's name out of it.
But no, she that's my mother-in-law. Different. Jill's my mom.
Sorry.
And Jill no, she'll play. There's like a virtual roller coaster thing that there's a bunch of stuff, and then like Beat Saber.
Oh, those are
And
fun.
then I want to say so I've done like a couple of those before, and it's like, oh, this is kind of fun.
Yeah.
God, there's some other. I'm trying to remember. There's some other stuff I've dicked around with it lightly.
So let me break this down for you, man. Gran Turismo 7 was completely built to be VR. Like
Mhm.
every race, it's not just like one or two gimmicky things. The
Right.
entire game you can play. And if you haven't played it yet, it's fucking the physics are amazing, the graphics are amazing. There's all the cars, right? Gran Turismo. It
Yeah.
is what it is. And in VR mode, it's fucking insane. Like, so you can get like you have your steering wheel and it shows
Right.
your hands moving real time. You can look around the interior, you can get lost in the
Can you
cockpit.
like? Is it like on gloves, or can you like digitally scan your hands so like your
So
wedding ring is on and stuff, and like
it
you've got
just
like
has a
the
representation of where your hands are, but the wheel is the wheel. It's an actual hooked up. I
Mhm.
have the wheels, the pedals, the shifter from the sim racing rig.
Right.
So it emulates all of that. So it's like it's actually so freaking insane. But you can look around, Frank. Like you can pull your car over and stare into the background if you want. It's
You
insane.
like stare into the soul of the guy next to you as you just like ram him into a.
like T-bone him and write the letter home that he's not coming home
Mhm.
tonight. But it's fucking beautiful, dude. And it's like there's a showroom feature where you walk around the cars and you can look in at
Oh,
all.
that's kind of fun.
It's fucking dope, dude.
That's dope.
Like it's just wild. So that's been my new car thing. It's fucking cool, dude. Like I can drive the ZR1 around Laguna Seca,
Mhm.
and it's the closest thing you can get because there's like haptic feedback. There's all this
Yeah.
stuff. There's force feedback in the steering wheel. It's wild. And when the headphones on, it's so immersive. It tricks your
Sick.
mind. Like the sense of speed is so crazy because in this game, all the interiors are like digitally scanned in perfectly. All the materials have texture. Get the
Interesting.
fuck
That's
out.
cool.
So cool. And the reason I bought it is it was very expensive, right?
Mhm.
So it's very expensive setup. Black
Ooh, look at
Friday,
me. It was so expensive.
it was half off for Black
Oh
Friday.
shit.
So I scored it, dude.
Damn.
And I'm so pumped. I'm never going out in the real world again, guys. Fuck it. Real cars are too expensive.
All of a sudden, like fast forward on the pod, like 14 months later, you're just like Howard Hughesian levels of unkempt, just like like your fingernails are 18 inches long, and just yeah.
What'd you do for PCB? Oh, I did a stage 4 body weight reduction on my Evo
Yeah.
track car. It's like, wait, what?
I successfully used the toilet for the first time in weeks. Yeah.
it's so fucking cool. You have to give it a shot, dude.
No, for sure. I'll have to check that. That actually sounds rad. Like the more you describe it, the more I'm like kind of into it.
And they put so much effort into it, dude. It's so wild. It's absolutely wild.
How long until you do VR porn with it?
I mean, 5 minutes is what I got.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
5 minutes into this pod.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, I forgot who somebody told me. They were like, porn isn't cheating. VR porn is 100% cheating. Like it's like you just can't even do it. Like it's so over the top.
I heard like reviews saying like the women look like giants in it because the perception's off, like the scaling. It's like Jesus.
Super into the tall drink of water. Yeah,
dude. Yeah,
I don't know. That's a thing, right? Like vor, like where like
you
get like eaten by giants and stuff or whatever.
I hope so.
That's a thing. I think that's the thing people are into.
The VR porn's a weird thing. I think the PlayStation's probably shielded a bit from that. Like if you get like another private party one where you can just hook up to the internet, but could you imagine getting a virus like on your VR?
I thought they were like you getting a virus. Like, it's so good. I got herpes.
Virtual pink eye.
It's so realistic. Yeah.
But imagine if your VR setup gets like a fucking virus. You're like playing a video game. And, like,
I don't. Oh man, I don't want to think about like just awful VR maintenance. Like you got to call the maintenance guy to like come deal with your maintenance needs.
Yeah.
Just like pressure washing. Yeah.
Yeah. Good times.
Go full cream free-ish.
But yeah, dude, you'll have to try it out. You have to jump on. I mean, I've got the shifter and everything, so you can roll through the. It's just wild. It's just wild, man.
No, that sounds super interesting. Like I haven't. Gran Turismo 4 was like the last one I put any actual effort into.
It's a good one. That was a good one.
Yeah, but that was like PS2.
Or
was that 3?
No, that was PS3.
I thought that was like PS3. Late run PS2. I don't know.
PS3. I think maybe. I don't know anymore. Maybe.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been.
There you go.
Weeks.
It's man. So I'll definitely have to check that out. And definitely sanitize it before I give it a whirl.
No way, dude.
Just in case. Yeah, no, that sounds really interesting. I wonder what other. I mean, it is, and you tell me, is Gran Turismo still like the gold standard as far as
100%. Yep. For like, racing sim, like approachable racing sim where you don't have to have like a high end PC or something. It plays through a console still. The
because
handling is
I have done like a Assetto Corso, like in
pretty
like a
good.
sim setup, like with not with like goggles, but with like like triple screen and the whole thing,
Which
which
is
is good.
cool. This takes it like to the next level, like full VR. I mean, you got to think everywhere you tilt your head, like you can look down around it's absolutely insane, dude, what they thought through. And
I
plus
feel
the
like I would get
backgrounds,
sick, maybe.
yeah, it depends. They have like a horizon lock, so you don't get like
Go like,
upside down or weird. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's like driving a car, right? Like, but it has the horizon lock feature, which keeps you like even keeled and looking the right direction. But the technology is just, plus the graphics of the game are just wild. If you haven't played it, the fucking replays look like videos, dude. They always have in Gran Turismo, in my opinion. But 7 really knocked it out of the park.
Okay, well, I'll have to check that out, and we'll just have to update digitally. Is that going to be the thing now? There's going to be
That's it.
like mechanics challenge. It's like the game is like wrenching digitally. And
Oh
it's
god,
just like extract this stuck bolt in a head. Like, oh no,
this is
it's
so
like
much.
super challenging.
Meanwhile, I have real shit boxes in the garage that
Yeah,
need that exact same work.
yeah, but no. Instead, you're just like, look how far I've gotten in building this motor for
Horrible.
what a digital engine building.
Yeah, and it's still cool. Gran Turismo. It still has obscure old cars, like the old beaters you can buy. So used car market looks fucking like real life, dude. The ads for the cars, it's like, god damn it.
Did you ever? I'm trying. There was this one game that I had. It was like a DOS. It was DOS based, and it was called. I just remember it was like I don't remember where I got it. It was just some random file,
Mm.
and it was called car. It was just cartest.exe, and it would have like several hundred, maybe 400 different profiles for all these different cars,
Huh.
right? And it would have everything, and it was just, and you can run like simulations on. It was just a window with like specs on it,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can run like simulation, and it would like give a simulated like 0 to 60 time based on the specs. So it would have like say you had a 93 Supra twin turbo. It would have all the specs there, and then you can run, and it would give you like a realistic, like you can select auto or manual, and then it would just it would make like the PC speaker would go like, and then it would spit out like a number like 0 to 60, and you can choose like clutch slip or clutch dump for like how you launch it.
Wow.
But then you can edit. You can just edit the parameters. So if you wanted, you can be like, well, what if this Super instead of 320 horsepower had 358 horsepower, right? Like you can like modify it, and then it would go and like, well, what if I change the tires, or what if I change the weight, and what if and you could just and you can get like batshit, like what if it had 1 horsepower but like 10,000 pound-feet of torque at like 4 RPM, and you can just get like really into the woods. And I would just sit there as a kid and just like edit these stuff like semi-realistically,
Really cool.
or wildly unrealistically. Like I would look up specs for like, oh well, in Japan, you can get the Celica with this motor, and we never got it. And so what if you put that JDM motor in a USDM car with our gearing? And I would get like deep in the woods and like look up the specs and plug in like, and
That's super cool.
like peak torque, like where it is like in the rev range. I'll have to find it somewhere. I hadn't thought about this forever.
There used to be so many dope like PC games like that. Like me and my buddy, well, man, we were young. We used to play the street racing one. Like it was mostly old like muscle cars and shit. But you would go through the advertisements, like the
Mm-hmm.
magazines at the time, and find like the classifieds. But there'd be like fake advertisements in there and stuff. It was just kind of cool shit, like vintage stuff. And you'd buy a beater, and you would do like the mods you need to be able to street race other people, and you'd win money, and then you'd buy your upgrades. And it was like
Oh,
the
interesting.
racing almost had nothing to do with it. But you had to bet with the guy, like try to raise his bet and all this kind of stuff. But it was like the way you modified your car was so cool. And like the used car, like seriously, going through the classifieds I've never
Right.
seen anything like that. It was so fucking cool. But yeah, I love like those kind of weird PC racing games from back in the day.
Car test. I think I found it.
Oh no.
Called Car Test 2000 Acceleration Simulator. And there's like, I found a website for it, and it's like comically out of date. Cartestsoftware.com. And it's like, requires like, Car Test 2000 is a Java program. You must have the latest version of Java runtime environment installed on your computer. It's available for free download from Oracle. And then it's just like, includes Windows 95. Yeah, there's a whole thing. And you could buy it. Like, it's, I don't know who would buy it. Email delivery online. Oh, or you can order an online subscription, so you subscribe to it. Boy, this is fantastic radio. Oh, this is actually a way better. Well, I'm looking. They have screenshots on it, and it is Java based, and it's like way fancier than the DOS one that I remember.
You were running the free sample version, my friend,
or just like the one that predated this one, because this is 2000. Mine must have been the pre 2000.
Yeah, damn.
It can calculate. Yeah, it's a whole thing. Oh, I found the DOS one. cartest/ct.exe.
This is breaking news, folks.
This will immediately brick my computer, I think, if I download it.
Yeah, don't do it now. You already have one
this is CarTest 4.5. So yeah, that's before 2000. So it was before it was cool. Anyways, you should find a way to download that legally or otherwise. Yes. And you should find a way to continue listening to us, dear listener. Because we enjoy it. That feels weird.
We do enjoy. We feed off of you listening.
Yes, exactly. It's really the only thing keeping us alive. That and cheap beer and cheap, and my blood boy. Yeah, adrenochrome directly from the Clintons. They've got their library hidden in the Antarctic. Speaking of which, we do appreciate you guys tuning in and putting up with our adrenochrome jokes. And Epstein hasn't made it into this episode somehow, but we appreciate it. Do the whole like subscribe or rate.
Yes, those things.
It genuinely, I've been told that it will actually help the development of our podcast. And so if you have an opportunity to, even if you hate us, just,
especially
thank you for listening this far. If you do, type some nonsense in there. It'll allegedly help us. We do have an Instagram that we never do anything with at APA Podcast. So berate us there. Jaaaggg, if people wanted to berate you in some form or fashion, how does that happen?
Yeah, Auto Obsessive Garage on YouTube for all your rescues, restorations, and reviews. Check me out there. Also on Instagram, same handle, same stuff. Frank, where can the good folks follow your endeavors?
Quick side note: I saw for the first time in the wild yesterday. It was a red Camaro, and on the back window, OnlyFans, and then it had like their OnlyFans thing. I believe it was Peach Perfection. I haven't.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, for whoever he or she. I'm assuming it's a she with Peach, but I don't know.
You never know.
Princess Peach. I should probably no. I'm just not gonna go to try and find out. But like, it's a bold move. Like, I feel like I would be worried about somebody with bad intentions stalking me if I just had my OnlyFans handle on the full width of my rear window on my red Chevy Camaro.
All press is good press.
Speaking of which, you can stalk me digitally. It's going to be the Photographer's Garage on most of the things. Not on OnlyFans, not yet. What if this is actually how I just like announced that I am on OnlyFans as Peach Perfection? That'd be a killer name for me. Like if that was my OnlyFans.
Would it?
It would be something.
All right,
I've been like heavily apple bottomed this whole time. So thank you guys for listening to the pod. We do appreciate it. We'll continue to push out more nonsense like this, maybe more nonsense even. So follow along.
Yep,
we appreciate it, friends.
It's relative to this episode, but let's stop jagging off for a moment. All right. Anyway,
can't stop, won't stop. Goodbye,
friends. Take care. Catch you on the next one.